Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the After the Frame podcast. My name is Malik, and I am joined, as always, by.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And in this episode, we are going to just be going over some of the Oscar nominations, our thoughts on some of those, snubs, what do we think is going to win, what do we think should have been nominated, as well as Matt is going to have a movie review for us at the end. And then we're obviously going to also do a bit of activities to begin with. So yeah, Matt, what movie will you be treating us for the review later on?
Oh, you want me to come out rolling with that?
I mean, yeah, unless you want to reveal it when you're about to review, but yeah, it's up to you.
No, we can give it away. I was going to talk about 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
Okay, all right, sounds pretty good. Well, do you have any headlines or any movie/TV news in the entertainment gyrosphere that you wanted to bring up?
Well, kind of factoring in that this episode is primarily Oscars themed, I kind of based my whole thought realm around that. And I mean, before we even really get diving in, for those of you who have or have not seen the Oscar nominations, Sinners just set an Oscars nominations record with 16 nominations. And I think it officially makes this year a quite chaotic year. I mean, 16 nominations is insane. I mean, this isn't just like in the race for all the categories. I mean, it's kind of seeming like the race is going to revolve around it. But as we have seen in years past, nominations dominance doesn't always mean it's the best. It's going to win Best Picture. It's going to sweep all the awards. This season has been split by precursors. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun kind of seeing how different but similar the, Critics' Choice Awards, Golden Globes, Oscar nominations, like how differently all of those fare. And it'll be interesting to see, whether with the highly acclaimed films we're looking at, what sweeps, what splits, what upsets. So
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting. We'll get more into the details of Sinners and them having all of those nominations and everything later on. So yeah, do you want to just hop right into the activities that we
yeah,
have
let's do it.
ready? The first thing that we have up on the docket is Tenable. Since you didn't do Tenable the last time that we played, you can go first and then I'll do mine.
Okay. I'm gonna test how much you studied. So my
Not at
Tenable
all. I
category.
haven't
Oh boy.
studied
Okay.
anything since college, and I aim to keep it that way.
So the Tenable category I selected the centric theme of this episode. Name the 10 films nominated for Best Picture this year's Academy Awards.
That's very apt because I believe this is the first year that they expanded it to 10, which in my opinion is like way too much. But yeah, let me just go over a little like a little preview of how we play this game in case people watching this episode didn't watch our last one. Just basically a category like the one that Matt just described with 10 things in it. No particular order, but yeah, you have 3 strikes to just name all of those things in the category, the 10 things, and we've decided a 3-minute clock just to keep things rolling. But yeah, let me know when you started your clock and I'll start guessing.
Yeah, let me get that rolling. We said 3 minutes. Okay, you are on the clock.
All right, well, Sinners.
Okay, you got 1.
F1.
You got 2.
Marty Supreme.
You got 3.
One Battle After Another.
4.
Sentimental Value.
5.
Okay, so those are the ones that I just off the top of my head were like, they gotta be. Let me think of some of the other ones because I didn't see a ton of. I was surprised that F1 was in there actually.
As was I.
Yeah, I mean it was great and everything, but it just didn't seem. I guess because they expanded to 10. Let me think. Is there a foreign movie in there? Any international?
Yeah, there is.
That's the thing. The only international movie I saw wasn't even nominated. No Other Choice. Trying to think. Is Hamnet one of them?
Hamnet is. You have 6 of
Okay.
the 10.
Okay, let me see here. Just go through all of the different stuff that all the actors and everybody's nominated for. Already said Sentimental Value. Other movies might there be? What other movies came out? Nothing else that I think would be in my top 10. I'm
You
going to just go
have
for it.
a minute and a half left, yeah, so take your time.
I'll just start going for it. Weapons.
Strike 1.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I think Sinners was the only like horror-esque movie in there. Sorry for our audio listeners. This isn't the most riveting stuff for a podcast, but it's literally me just thinking.
It's fun. It's engaging.
Yeah, exactly. The people might be like screaming at me right now. Oh, I'm forgetting this. I'm forgetting that. And I literally I mean, we're going to go over it later. Man, like, are there some that I've missed that I'm going to like kick myself that like, oh, I should definitely be guessing?
So Here, I'll pause the timer for a minute and give you a hint. So of the four you have remaining,
Hmm.
I know you've seen one of them. There's another one
Interesting.
I don't know if you've seen.
I immediately know what the one I saw was. I just remembered it, but go on.
There's two, especially if you've only seen, really one international. You haven't seen the international, and there's another one. I will give you a hint since you have 40 seconds left. Two of them are streaming. You are back on the clock.
Dreaming.
Streaming
Begon-
exclusives, let me say.
Begonia
Okay,
is
that's another
the
one.
one that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get the international one. I've definitely. I mean, I've looked over all of the nominees, but I just don't remember it. I've definitely seen it written down. Streaming is a Netflix movie.
Yes, you have 10 seconds.
The Electric State.
Fuck off. You have hit your time.
All right, what were the ones I was missing? Yeah, I like the three other ones.
The two Netflix films, Frankenstein was one, and then Train Dreams was another.
Okay. Frankenstein, I never ended up finishing. We started it, but never finished it. Okay, and then that's pretty good.
Frankenstein, Train Dreams, and then the international was The Secret Agent.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean those. Yeah, it makes sense. I didn't see those three, so or I never finished it. Plus, as I said, like Frankenstein, I'm surprised is up for Best Picture. Like I just would have never
Yeah.
thought of it being one, and I forgot that was literally just streaming. Okay, well, I mean that's pretty good. Very good category, seeing as how that's what we'll be discussing. Mine is topical, but not Oscar topical. Mine is a little bit more, I guess you could say, out there. So, as you're aware, the movie Send Help is going to be coming out this weekend, actually, at the time of us recording. And Sam Raimi is the director. So, I decided, because this movie is coming out, let's do something Sam Raimi themed. So, Matt, I would like for you to name me the last 10 movies that Sam Raimi has directed. Not televisions, not shorts, just strictly movies. So let me go ahead and hold on. I don't know why my Tenable is looking like this. I think it'd be better.
Can I count Send Help in that list?
Yeah, Send Help is a gimme, obviously.
Okay, I can count that one. Okay.
So let me get my 3 minutes going here, and you are good to start guessing.
All right.
So
Send Help,
Send
1 out
Help.
of 10.
Yep, that's the most recent.
Okay. What did he direct before that? Oh, he did Doctor Strange, Multiverse.
That is the second most recent. To give you a time frame, it's not like he did something in between. He did some TV, but no movies. This one is a bit of a jump. I was a little surprised, just to give you a hint.
Okay, thinking of his last 10. Spider-Man.
That is, let me see, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 7.
Okay.
The 7th movie.
Spider-Man 2.
That is 8. Oh, I'm sorry, that is 6.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, all of them back to back to back, yeah. So you're missing 2 in between Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2, and then you're missing the 3 before Spider-Man 1.
Jeez. Okay.
So what, Doctor Strange 2 came out in like 2022, I believe?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007, so you got 2 movies in between those years, and then Spider-Man 1 came out in 2002, so 3 movies before 2002. And
you said
you got a minute and a half.
I got a minute and a half. You said there's a gap between Doctor Strange and whatever he did.
And Spider-Man 3. So between 2007 to 2022, when he did Doctor Strange, he did 2 movies that you're missing.
And where's Spider-Man 1? 8?
7. There's still 3 more movies above it.
Jeez. Okay.
Earlier.
I know he did
the... Go on.
I know he did the Wizard of Oz movie. I'm blanking on the name of it. The James Franco...
I'll give it to you. Oz the Great and Powerful. That's the one that's right before Doctor Strange. Yeah, that's the one right before Doctor Strange. I forget what year. That might have been like 2012 or 13 or something.
I'm blanking. I don't know. Like my mind, when I think Sam Raimi, like I think,
Spider-Man.
Evil Dead and Spider-Man. And
yeah, Evil Dead isn't on this list, so don't even worry about that.
Yeah, that's way back.
Way back when, yeah. The one between Oz the Great and Powerful and Spider-Man 3 I've seen. It's a horror movie. The 3 before Spider-Man I have not seen, so I can't give you many hints on those. You have 12 seconds.
Man, that was...
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
I thought he did way more than this. When I was looking at it, I was like, wow, like, this is within the 10?
Yeah.
That's the time. You have any last guess? Because you never had any strikes.
I'm drawing a blank. No.
Okay.
I don't know what else he's done.
In between Oz the Great and Powerful and Spider-Man 3, he had Drag Me to Hell. That was the horror movie. I don't know if you ever
Okay.
saw that one.
That movie was not very good, in my opinion.
And then the 3 before Spider-Man was The Gift, For Love of the Game, and A Simple Plan.
Huh.
Yep,
I didn't
I've never
realize
seen any of those.
I forgot he did A Simple Plan.
Yep. So yeah, that concludes our games of Tenable. Shall we get
Good
into
category.
yeah, thank you. Shall we get into what do we have next? The blind rankings. I believe you have a blind ranking for me.
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
I have to rescope here because I just kind of listed movies, but 2 of them you haven't seen.
They would just be towards the bottom.
Okay, yeah, we can roll with it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Blind rankings rank these 5 best actor nominees of this year.
Okay.
Let's start with Ethan Hawke,
4,
Michael B. Jordan,
1,
Leonardo DiCaprio,
3,
Timothy Chalamet,
2,
and Wagner Moura.
5. I'm very happy with that list. I think
That's
that's
yeah.
literally how I would have done it. So I'm
So
very happy with that.
I originally had movies written down, and then I was at work doing this list, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, you haven't seen 2 of them. So I'm
Yeah.
like, they'd be kind of. I'm like, let me change it and jump on the spot. But yeah, I mean, I would probably flip Michael B. Jordan and Chalamet. But otherwise, yeah, that list I think is pretty spot on.
Yeah. Still a good category though, keeping in line with the Oscar theme. Next, we're gonna do our entertainment hot takes for this. I'm not sure if you just came up with your own. I didn't write any of my own. I literally asked like just friends over the past like day or two to send me theirs. And I just took a bunch of them down. And I have like a bunch for even other episodes after this. Yeah, I've already thanked all of them individually. I'm not gonna name anybody's. Like, there are some hot takes here where I'm like, I've literally told people, don't say that in the wrong neighborhood. People will come at you with pitchforks, and it'll be no good. So I'm not going to name anybody. Everybody's going to be anonymous, but I thank them for that.
Okay, you wanna kick it off?
Sure thing. Let me find. Let me read through them and find like a good one. I'll save the one that I was like, oh wow, that's a really hot take for last. All right, this was an interesting one. The take was most modern villains sympathy farm and it's getting boring. So this person is just basically talking about that we're not really getting many villains nowadays that are just evil for the hell of being evil. Like now most villains have like a backstory or, you know, something that's going to make them sympathetic to the audience. So what do you agree, disagree, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's a super hot take. I mean, I see where this individual is coming from on that. I do like to see like a sympathetic villain, but it depends on how they handle it and how often I see it. Like, I think the best example is like Thanos. Like, I mean, he had a rhyme and a reason for what he thought was right. Whether, the Avengers or the general audience agreed, disagreed, whatever, any of that. He had a morale, and like to him, it was not malicious intent. Like he had a reason for what he was doing. But
Yeah,
I
he
mean, in the
thought it was
grand scheme of
mercy.
things, yeah, it might be considered evil. But yeah, from his point of view, he had a rhyme and reason for it.
Yeah, for me, I also don't really think it's that much of a hot take. Like, I don't think that if this person said it, people would be like, oh, that's unacceptable. I disagree with it. I personally prefer when villains have a little bit more clever writing. I don't really enjoy when villains are just like doing things just because, oh, I'm bad. That seems too cartoonish for me. So if it depends on the movie, obviously, if it's like a kid's movie, like a Pixar movie or something, I get it. But even Pixar does a good job about, what the villains that they've created, they have like a backstory or tie into something with the hero. So yeah, that's my first one. What do you got for your first one?
So my first one may be controversial.
It's supposed to
Streaming
be.
apps. It's basically cable all over again, just with a worse search and more passwords.
And this is your take. This isn't like somebody else giving it
Yeah.
to you.
Like, I like this convenience of streaming, but especially now having all these different apps and all these different passwords and all these different subscriptions, half of which aren't even my own. Shout out mom and dad, but it's just too much. Like, have everything in one place.
Well, I feel like that's what Netflix kind of wants to do. I mean, they're trying to buy up HBO and stuff like so. I think like platforms you will see probably in the next 10 years are going to start buying up each other, which I don't really like. I kind of if we are going to have the streaming platforms, I like the individual stuff that everybody, like the things that are put out on HBO Max are a little bit more, I don't know, like for instance, you got White Lotus and Euphoria, like a little bit more adult or, like more
Hmm.
mature. Then, you'll have your stuff on, Disney Plus is obviously going to be more like kids. Like I don't know. I prefer that it's like it's almost like on your desktop you have like different folders for things. And I know whenever I'm like having a movie night or something, oh, we want to watch this category. I know this streaming platform has a good selection of that. I understand where you're coming from because at the end of the day, if you just bog it down, it is kind of just the same thing. Having Comcast or Xfinity where you would go to on demand, like I remember doing that when I was younger. Um, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's good or bad. Like I don't have like so much of an opinion that like whether or not streaming is like cable is good or bad, but I can see where you're coming from. Like I personally don't mind it either way. As the only issue I've had with streaming is that now I don't like that it's taking away from the movie going experience, which I don't think cable had that issue. So yeah, that's my only issue with it, I'd say.
Fair enough.
I don't know, with my new stupid update on my phone now, it like keeps on like bugging out. My next one is they shouldn't have made a second or third Avatar movie or just continued the franchise. They should have just left it alone with the first one. My take on this is that I kind of agree. I don't really care for the Avatar franchise. I haven't seen the second or third one, but I have been convinced by my girlfriend to watch them, and we will end up watching them. And yeah, I've only ever seen the first one like maybe twice, and I wasn't clamoring. I mean, I'm not a fan, so I wasn't clamoring for a franchise. But I can imagine, like, if you are a fan, then you would. So, what's your take on the Avatar franchise?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I have seen each of the three movies. And in my humble opinion, I think the movies only got better after the original. Like the upgrade from the original to the second one, the Way of Water, was excellent. Like the Way of Water is an awesome film. Putting Avatar aside, like even the performances, the music, and everything was great. And then it was a bit of a downgrade from 2 to 3, but I still think 3 is better than 1, slightly. But I do see the point that is being made here about, stretching the franchise, because it does make me wonder, like, why they're doing what they're doing. And the stories in each of the 3 movies are similar. My bigger question for that is, like, where I don't know where they're going for the future. So,
It's just kind of how it
maybe
is.
yeah, I mean, maybe in the next couple of years whenever the 4th one releases, we'll see where it goes, but I don't think it's a bad take, but I think the movies to follow after the first have gotten better, not worse.
Okay, fair enough. What's your next one?
So it's funny Avatar is brought up because talking about longer movies, I think my opinion here will vary drastically to the general audience. And I don't think most movies are too long. I think they are just edited to where, like, if someone in the audience complains about there was too much talking or not enough depth to the story. I think films nowadays are edited like they're scared of having silence in their film, letting the audience like marinate with what's going on. And I mean, you see it a ton with older movies. Like I don't even mean like 2000s, 90s, 80s. Like I've watched a lot of classics, and they do take their time, but the quality control that they do with it is excellent, and it saddens me to see that a lot of casual moviegoers don't enjoy sitting through art, even if it's 2.5, 3 hours or longer. I mean, depending on how long like, I will agree that if it's a longer film, I will watch it in chunks. Like, the Lord of the Rings movies, like, each of those are 3.5 hours long, and don't even get me started on the extended director's cut. Like, you'd probably need to split that over a week. So that's my opinion on like length and runtimes. But
So basically, let me see if I understand what you said. The length of movies nowadays, I mean, like, yeah, movies are definitely a lot longer than they used to be. You're saying that, like, for the general audience, they get like kind of like bored and they don't want that type of long movie. So you're thinking that directors and editors now are kind of appeasing them by like not, if they are making a long movie, they won't let people sit with like something. It has to be like, if you're gonna be a 3 hour movie, something has to be going on for the whole 3 hours type
yeah,
of thing,
they're
if
they're
that's
either
right.
bored or scared of going to see it because they see the runtime and they're like I'll use One Battle as a great example. That movie's 3 hours, and you've got the one side, and it's like, okay, Leo's a great actor. I'll go see him. Paul Thomas Anderson's a great director, but it's 3 hours. It's like,
That was my thought process with it too. How I see it is just that like people when they say that they're bored or they're whatever, it's like people just say that when it's something that they just don't really want to see or they don't like. So I'm the same way where it's like if they like when like the new Avatar movie came out and they're like, oh, it's like a 3.5 hour movie. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like that franchise. I don't want to sit through a 3.5 hour movie of a franchise I don't like. But something like Endgame or The Batman, whereas 3 hours, and I think the Batman in particular, most people that saw Endgame are big MCU fans. So everybody's like, oh, the 3 hours were so quick. I don't think that was ever anybody's complaint. But the Batman, a lot of more casual people thought it was too long. Me as a Batman fan, like I watched that movie like 5 times in theaters and I didn't feel the 3 hours like once. So I think that, I understand where you're coming from. I do think that sometimes I will watch a movie where I do see that the movie is kind of getting stretched too long just because now, as we already said, that it's becoming more of the norm for, but when we were growing up, every movie was like an hour, a tight hour and a half, and we're out of there. Now it's more the norm for 2 hour plus movies. So, and then there's some times where I'm like, oh, this movie didn't need to be 2+ hours. Like they definitely could have edited some things out. So it's a give and take. I understand where you're coming from. I definitely think that the whole, as I said, the streaming thing has created everybody to be easily bored in the theaters because if you have a 4 hour movie at Netflix, you can just pause it, come back to it, whatever. But people just sitting down without their phones or without whatever for 3.5 hours for like a good movie, people don't want to do that now. But I don't know. I feel like if you really like the movie or you really like what's going on or how it's advertised, you won't mind it. Like when the Snyder Cut came out, it came out straight to streaming. I remember, people might not know this, but you and I worked together. That's how we met. But when I was working one of my park shifts, I literally watched 2 hours and then went to my shift and then finished it when I got home. So it's like there's convenience in that when it's like a 4 hour epic, but that's very rare. So yeah, as I said, it's a give and take, but I get where you're coming from. I do think that people see it more as like, oh, they're bored when they just need to like get on with it.
yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and spout my next point now
Hmm.
because it's actually on the other side of that. I think, and I can expand this beyond film, but television, music, anything creative. I do think that artists in general need to drop shorter projects more often instead of treating every release they put out like it has to be in their masterpiece era. And we've seen lots of delays or just haphazard just effort because they either take too long or they pump something out super quick and it just craps the bed. I think there needs to be a nice blend, but it happens a lot now, and I'm not going to name any names, but specific directors they take their sweet time with a film, and the hype
James
builds
Cameron.
up. He was one, yeah. Um, he treats every release like it's a masterpiece, and some of his films are to that level, some are not, but they're all the same length, give or take. And he's like, "Oh, I'm one up in my next project." That's not the reality.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I also think that the modern audience now, because despite the fact that it does seem that there's less people going to movies, I do feel like there is, for whatever reason, more of a discourse discussing movies than before. So you really don't know until you see the numbers for like the viewership. But I feel like the modern audience is a little bit more intelligent. So if yeah, I feel like it's the fault of like a director like James Cameron, where if he's going to make an Avatar movie and it's going to be 9 years in between each sequel, people will be expecting like, wow, you're putting 9 years worth of work into this movie. It's going to be something special. And then
Mhm.
if it falls short of literally anything other than perfection, then it's going to, disappoint people. Whereas an example, I was literally watching a video today where people were a little bit worried that James Gunn seems to have written Man of Tomorrow coming out next year very quickly. It seems like that script came out like, like very fast after the first movie. And obviously everybody knows that he wrote the first movie and Peacemaker, and people were not happy with Peacemaker. And Peacemaker, I think he said that he wrote in 2 months. So people are worried about like what he, how long it took him to write that. But I feel like that's telling. Like, I mean, he's very busy and he wrote these things. So because it's literally he's trying to run a whole universe and movies are coming out like every year and so on and so forth, you can't expect that every movie that is going to release is going to be a quality of like The Dark Knight or, Spider-Man 2 or Across the Spider-Verse. These movies are going to come out to tell a narrative story, similar how to the beginning of the MCU. People kind of know what they're in for. But I can kind of agree what you're saying, that yeah, it would be nice if sometimes filmmakers didn't try and make everything a whole epic. I can agree with that for sure. I will go ahead and just do one more for the sake of time, and we can always do a lot more another episode. So I'm gonna go with the one that I was sent that I thoroughly disagreed with, and I know you will as well, and I think most people will. It feels sacrilegious for me to even be reading it. The Dark Knight Rises is better than The Dark Knight, and furthermore, Bane was a better villain than the Joker. I don't really need to get too much into why I disagree. This was one of the takes that I got that I literally told him, please do not go around saying that in public. People might beat you up. But yeah, I mean, we could have a whole podcast on why I disagree with that. So I will just say, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. Like that is foolishness right there.
Yeah, your reaction is how I felt reading it for the first time. It's something that like I was like I
Oh my
never even thought,
gosh.
it never even crossed my mind that somebody would think that. But everybody has their own opinions. I mean, Bane is, I think, an underrated villain in the grand scheme of just like cinema, I guess, because The Dark Knight Rises to me is the weakest of the trilogy. Yeah, he's still a good villain. I think that because he has like a lot of bars, like he's just like one of those villains that like he's like Thanos. Everything he says is so catchy to like repeat and everything. But as I said, this is not a Dark Knight Rises review. We don't need to get into all of that. But yeah, I thoroughly disagree with that. So yeah, that's my last one.
Interesting. Yeah, it's calling every fiber of my being not to lash out about. But like, with the Dark Knight Rises, so I personally think that's a better movie than Begins, but it's much closer to the Begins in terms of quality than it is to the Dark Knight. Like that's
Easily.
big time disrespect. Like don't ever
The
say that.
Dark Knight is literally seen as like outside of the superhero sphere, like just as people's one of the best just movies, not even just a superhero movie. So
Yeah,
I don't really hear anybody saying that about The Dark Knight Rises. But as I said, different strokes for different folks. Everybody has their own opinion. So
very true.
you have another one you want to share? Or are you good?
One thing I will share is
Okay.
if nobody ever really asks me, but I'm gonna share my opinion anyway. My fear kind of going into the streaming app and the more technology driven era is that I think this algorithm that generates, popular content or all of this streaming, whatever, new film, anything coming out. I think the algorithm is unfortunately killing curiosity because a lot of people now will flock to what's popular and what's trending, whether good, bad, shit, perfection, whatever. Everybody's watching what they're supposed to instead of finding their own favorites. They could be weird, they could be good, they could be bad, they could be whatever opinion, but it seems like a lot of people are, I don't want to say sheep, but sheep being herded towards this certain direction. And like, yes, I will go see what's coming out, but I form my own opinion on it. Not watching the top 10 things on every streaming service and checking that, once a month and, oh, I haven't seen this. Oh, it's crap. So on and so forth. Like a lot of my favorites, I haven't put it out, but people can ask me and I will relay. I have a list on my phone of give or take the top 500 movies I think I've ever seen. Of those 500, I have given 18 a perfect score. A third of those 18 came out in the 2000s, not 2019, 2010, in the 2000s period. 6 of 18. And a lot of those are 50s, 60s, 80s movies. My fear is that as time passes on, a lot of the perfect, or what I consider perfect, or even just, best media is going to be kind of forgotten by the wayside. And I don't want that to happen.
I mean, to the point that you're making, I agree with you. Let me start off by saying that the point that you're making is just like it's unfortunately just how media is consumed now. Like for instance, I mean, this is not anything to do with movies, but Crocs or Pilates, for instance, these things have been around for a while, and then all you need is something to start happening where Crocs are now popular. Everybody's got a pair of Crocs. Before,
Hmm.
when I was literally a kid, you would like get made fun of if you had Crocs. Like people would like make fun of you. So, and Pilates as well. Pilates has been around as like a workout for a while. And then out of the blue, I guess some TikTok moms or some girls like started turning it into more of a trend. And then everybody just hops on it. Oh, I need to go to Pilates. So I think that's how movies are as well, where people just want to be a part of the thing that's happening. And I feel like that's, again, to, give my plaudits to the MCU. The MCU, to me, from Iron Man to Endgame is a great franchise, and they deservedly got all of the flowers and money at the box office that they got. But I think that it got to a point where it was so popular amongst just everybody that like the fans that were going would just tell, like word of mouth, and then people are like, oh, there's this big like thing going on. I want to be a part of it. Now I need to watch the stuff. It happens with a bunch of stuff. Stranger Things are the same way. Any media that's popular now, that's like a franchise or, whatever, it's from word of mouth, like you
Hmm.
said. So unfortunately, a bunch of kids of the next generation will not be growing up watching Jaws or ET or Star Wars or the older Star Wars because they're still making stuff. But you know what I mean? Like I agree with you. It's never gonna be like that unless for some random reason, I don't know, there's a trend, a Jaws trend on TikTok or something, and then all the kids are
Yeah.
going to watch it. That's
Or
just kind
like,
of how it
we
is.
we did a review on it when it celebrated its 50-year anniversary. And I mean,
Yeah, but a lot of people, I don't even think, if you're not in like the whole movie sphere of like, you wouldn't even know that it had a 50th. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like you kind
disappointing.
of have to be looking for that kind of stuff, or just kind of, as you said, the algorithm, like my algorithm on Instagram and Twitter and everything is more geared towards movies. So I gain more information, whereas, everybody has their different thing they like. So that's just the modern world, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
Um, all right, let's get into our Oscar discussion. As you already mentioned, Sinners broke the record for being nominated for the most amount of Oscars. Do you agree with this? Disagree? Are you shocked? What are your thoughts on that?
I do agree. For those of you who have seen our 2025 recap episode, we both had Sinners as our number one film of 2025. And I think it's good that it's getting its flowers. I mean, it's broken the record at nominations. But my fear is that I think the competition this year is tough. Tougher than in past years, and especially with, like, as we touched on, like Best Picture going up from however many it was to 10. That doesn't make it better. Some being nominated, I was surprised that they were nominated, but I hope that it gets its flowers. Because I do think that that film was a work of art.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I've said many times, I love that movie. I literally rewatched it like 2 days ago. And I feel like I haven't heard anybody saying that, like, oh, they disagree with like them breaking the record, because when you look at all the things that in every category that they're nominated for, it makes sense. It's not like that the Oscars are just kind of just throwing them in places. I mean,
Hmm.
the movie itself is just one of those that, like, it kind of fills out every quadrant that I guess an Oscar quote unquote movie would be looking for. It's got the costumes, it's got the acting, it's got the music, the cinematography, the great direction. It's got like everything. Whether or not it will be the best in those categories remains to be seen, but it has those things in the film. So it makes sense that it's getting all of the nominations it's getting. My fear is, and what a lot of people are saying online, is that because it has gotten so many nominations, it's almost like the Oscars knows it's not going to win much. So it's like kind of giving something to balance, like so that at least Sinners can say, hey, we didn't win a lot of Oscars, but we did break the record for this. I hope that's not the case, because I do think that there are some categories that they're in that are, to me, locks for them to be winning. I mean, I can share at least, the one with the score. I think that that should easily go to them. But, costume, stuff like that. But as you said, it's a very competitive year in each of the categories they're in. The acting was great this year. The directors for, Ryan Coogler and like all the stuff he's going to be competing with. And obviously for best film, the costumes, the makeup in Frankenstein, so it'll be tough. I'll be watching the Oscars and seeing how it works, but hopefully they win a couple. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, even some of the performance fields, like this year, I think it's gonna be tough. Like, we'll get into best actor, but you've got a big three of Leo, Michael B. Jordan, Timothy Chalamet. Like that's already an insane trio. And then I think best supporting actress, I think that's gonna be a sneaky field this year. I mean, all the actresses nominated, like they, are not the traditional nominees, and I do have my theory as far as who I think will get it, but I think it'll be a surprising. It's gonna be a close battle, I think. And then from a technical perspective, like looking at a lot of the nominations, there was quite a bit of overlap. I think it's gonna be a three-way tug of war between Frankenstein, Sinners, and F1. I mean, all are three different movies, but they all found a way to impress at the technical level. Before we dive into predictions as far as what we think is going to be on the ballot, what do you think got snubbed? What
I have only two, and it's both for supporting actor and supporting actress, and I can tell you who I would take out in each for these actors. So I'll do supporting actress first. I would take out the actress who played Aunt Gladys in Weapons. While I am happy that she got nominated, like that a horror movie is getting so much nominations and attention, I don't feel like that her role in the movie warranted a best supporting actress nomination per se, nor anybody in that movie. I think the movie was great and really creative, but that's the one I would take out, and I would put in Odessa
a
Izion.
Zion? Yeah.
Yeah, she I thought was really great, and I thought would be, after watching Marty Supreme, would be a nailed on supporting actress nominee, and she didn't get nominated. So that's my snub, that I was like not expecting her to necessarily win, but I thought she did a great job along with Timothy Chalamet, who obviously got nominated. So that's my first one. The second one is for best supporting actor. You and I have very different thoughts on this movie, one battle after another. I think Sean Penn did good. I don't understand the Benicio del Toro nomination, having both of them in there. I don't think Benicio del Toro did enough in the movie to warrant it. I would take him out for Jesse Plemons in Begonia, even though I didn't love that movie. I thought that he was one of, if not the best parts of the movie, his acting performance. So I was very surprised as well that that got nominated. Emma Stone got nominated, but he was not nominated. So those are my two snubs. Do you have any?
Yeah, I actually didn't look at it kind of from a award perspective, but thinking of what films got nominated and for what they were nominated for.
Okay.
The first one I'm going to highlight for what was a shock to many, but I was totally fine by it, for not getting nominated for really anything. Wicked for Good. It got quite a little bit of a slack for not being nominated for anything, and it's caused a lot of discourse. I don't care. Like that it did.
Yeah, I'm
The
fine with it.
first film was great, and there was a lot of quality and care put into that one. This one just didn't hit the same. And I'm fine with it missing over what actually got in. The two positives that I do have, I was surprised that Sentimental Value, I think it feels like it's going to overperform in nominations, but it could underperform in wins, which does make me a little disappointed. Like that film is exceptional, and hopefully I'm wrong, but I do think it could have been nominated for, like it got nominated for a lot, but my snub take is I wonder how much of that is actually going to win. And then Weapons. I mean, unless I misread the list, Weapons only got nominated for one thing, and
That's
it
right.
was Aunt Gladys as Best Supporting Actress. I feel
Arguably
like
something that it didn't need to be, like, out of all the things it could have been nominated for, they chose like the wrong thing, in my opinion.
I will have to debate you on that later. For me, like it was in the conversation, but it not dominating anywhere else made me feel like it was ignored when it should have landed more, in my opinion.
I think that the Oscars, it's baby steps for me. I feel like because of it being more horror-esque, they don't usually, I mean, look at Hereditary, for instance. I think Toni Collette deserved a Best Actress nomination. I don't remember who the other people were that year, but I remember watching it that year and I was like, wow, that was incredible. And I think that it's very, being in a state of terror to me when I'm watching these horror movies, it seems as though it's more taxing on the actor or actress. So you would think the Oscars would pay more attention to them, but they don't. So, but I can agree with you. I mean, I loved Weapons, so I can agree that especially because they had so many different categories. They could have done like, I don't know, best original screenplay at least, like they did for
Hmm.
Jordan Peele and like Get Out and Us and everything. Yeah, I can agree with that. Touching on the Wicked thing you talked about, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really care that it didn't get nominated. I mean, I like the first one. I like the second one fine, but I was having this discussion a few days ago with a friend who also was like a little shocked that they got nothing and that Ariana Grande especially didn't get nominated. And I feel as though like the Academy, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I'm assuming that they're looking at it literally as like how it is in the play. Like it's a second act. It's almost like if you already got nominated last year for part one, we're not going to, like, you guys didn't really do anything different this year. So why would they nominate them again? It's like literally like part one, part two.
Hmm.
I don't know. It just seemed like a continuation of part one, if anything, not even like it was that much of a sequel, just like they cut the story in half. But yeah, that's my thoughts on why they didn't nominate anything. I think that it's like a cheat code. It's like when they were doing all those the Harry Potter movies and Hunger Games and what else did it? Twilight, where it was like the last book. They were like, oh, we're just gonna cut it into two just for money's sake. Like that's like a cheat code. Like you're just cutting the story in half. So, all right, you want to run through the predictions for each category?
Yeah,
There are
let's
some that
dive in.
I don't really have too much of a stake in because I haven't seen all of the movies, but I'm sure you probably have. First one is writing for original screenplay. We got Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. What do you got?
For original,
Hmm.
Sinners, easily.
Yep, mine as well. On to the next one. Writing adapted screenplay. We got Begonia. We've got Frankenstein. We've got Hamnet. We've got One Battle After Another. And we've got Train Dreams.
One battle after another.
I'm going to go with Begonia for this one just because I've only seen two of the five.
But yeah, those are the two you've seen. I mean, yeah, I do recall you were anti one battle after another. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it just didn't really do it for me, but and I also feel like it'll get other awards as well, so I'm not like too pressed to yeah, and I don't think Begonia will win a ton. So that's kind of how I'm gauging it
Yeah, I am curious to see what Bugonia will win
if they win.
if they win. Having seen so it's funny the way I went about it. I actually under each category, like I ranked them based on if I had
Uh
to
huh.
defend myself.
Uh huh.
Bugonia I had ranked last in this category.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, since you've seen all of them, that makes sense. Next one for visual effects, we got Avatar: Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, Lost Bus, and Sinners. Again, what did you got for this one?
I got to get to my visual effects. I had
Yeah, I just pulled this from the website. It's in a weird order.
surprise, surprise, Avatar.
Yeah, I think that that's very fair. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips of it. And yeah, I can give it to that as well. Out of the ones I've seen, I would probably give it to probably F1 from the ones I've seen, just because I don't think F1 will be winning much of anything, maybe sound. But yeah, I think Sinners for this one, they had good visual effects, but it wasn't a ton of visual effects they needed. It was a lot more makeup
Hmm.
than anything. But yep, I'm fine with that. Avatar, Fire and Ash. I think that that's a good shout. And speaking of sound, the next category we've got F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sirat. I'm gonna go with F1 for this one out of the ones I've seen.
I agree with you. I think F1 is probably going to take this one.
Yeah, again, like as I've said on many different episodes, I watched that in IMAX and it was great. Next up, we got production design, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and surprise, surprise, Sinners. What do you got?
So this one, I actually thought long and hard about. I think it's going to go to Frankenstein.
Okay. Okay. What did you have in second, if I may ask?
I had what is probably your pick, Sinners.
Okay. Out of the ones I've seen, since I've only once again seen two, I would give it to Sinners over Marty Supreme, but I wouldn't be mad if Frankenstein wins it just based on the little bit I did watch. I wouldn't be mad. So
Yeah,
makes
I mean
sense to me.
Frankenstein's production design was very well done. I mean, what gave Frankenstein the edge for me over Sinners was, both were set in a dystopian type era. Well, not dystopian, but like fantastical but realistic, sort of gritty.
Hmm.
Frankenstein having a little bit more freedom with it, looking at, Frankenstein's monster and all the sciencey stuff. They did a really good job with that. And I mean, Sinners being, a 90s vampire movie, I mean, that was excellent. But I think what gave me the edge was the little bit more creative freedom that was granted with Frankenstein.
Yeah, that makes sense. Next one is a big one, Best Picture. We got Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I mean, I already have said mine. Well, I mean, if you watched our rankings, you know which one I'm gonna pick for mine.
So this is one of those battles for me because I'm trying to think about what direction I would go in versus what direction the Academy would go in.
Yeah.
I think we can both agree on what we would do as individuals. My
hmm
honest prediction is not reflective of that.
I also agree.
I think One Battle After Another is going to take Best Picture.
I think Marty Supreme is gonna win.
Ooh, okay.
It would be Sinners for me, obviously, like you said, but I think Marty Supreme is going to win this one. And this won't be the last time that I say Marty Supreme, I think, is going to win something, which I think Sinners should be winning. But yeah, I know that as I said, like you really enjoyed One Battle After Another, and it seemed everybody else did. I guess it just never
Well,
clicked for me.
so I mean,
So,
the thing too, like it's interesting you say Marty Supreme because I also think Marty Supreme is a better movie than One Battle After Another. I mean, Sinners, we both agree is a better movie.
mhm.
And my thing with Marty Supreme, and we'll go into this. I do think it will win more. Just knowing how the Academy has been in the past, I think if it's not One Battle After Another, it's really going to shock me. One thing I can respect I think it's the Golden Globes. They have two Best Picture categories, but they've got
Yeah.
a drama and they've got a musical slash comedy, and they kind of break them up. How they decide to break those categories out is surprising to me. Like Sinners was nominated for drama, which makes sense. But One
hmm
Battle After Another was nominated for musical slash comedy. And I'm like, that's neither one. I mean, it had some
It
humor,
had,
but it's not.
yeah, it had humor, I guess, but
Yeah, it's I think that's an opportunity for them to like I just appreciate how they do that, how they kind of give their flowers to both. But yeah, look, knowing how the Academy has been, I do think it's going to be one battle.
okay. Yeah, we'll see. And only time will tell. Next up, we've got a music original song, Dear Me, Golden, I Lied to You, Sweet Dreams of Joy, and Train Dreams. This is a similar thing like you just said. Um, I'm gonna give what I would do, and then I'm gonna give what I think they will do. I would give it to I Lied to You from Sinners, just because it's attached to what I think is the best scene of the year, with the whole Sammy singing and all the different people from past and present and future, and the barn is like burned down, and I love that scene. I watch it like all the time. It's great, and so I'd give it to that. I think that they're gonna go with Golden just because of how big of a hit it was.
We have the same opinion. I think the same thing.
Okay. Next up, music original score of Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I'm actually a little surprised that Marty Supreme wasn't in this category. I thought that the score in that movie was pretty good.
I agree.
Yeah. But as I said, I never saw all of these. I haven't seen Hamnet or Frankenstein fully. So, Sinners for me. I think this is the one that like I would be willing to bet my bank account that this is Sinners lock. And I'd be very surprised if they don't.
I can agree. And if it doesn't win, people will riot.
It's true. They'll start singing Rocky Road to Dublin outside of the theater and start, circling it and everything.
Yep.
Next up, makeup and hairstyling, Frankenstein, Kuho, Sinners, Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. I know how much you love The Smashing Machine, so what is your thoughts on this category?
I'm thinking it goes to Frankenstein.
Yep, out of the ones, even though I've literally only seen Sinners, I'd say Frankenstein as well. I would think that that's pretty spot on. I mean, the Smashing Machine had the good prosthetics with The Rock, but not as much as what Jacob Elordi had to be going through, I'm sure. Next up, live action short film, Butcher's Stain, Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva. Literally have no opinion because I've never heard of any of these nor seen them, so I'll defer to you if you've seen any of these.
I haven't seen anything. Based on what I've read, it sounds like A Friend of Dorothy is the leading contender. I don't know what it's about, but based on the discourse I've seen, online. That's the way it seems to be leaning.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that. International feature film, Brazil. Sorry, why am I reading the countries? The Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Surat, and the voice of Hind Rajab. I'm going to assume that Sentimental Value will take this.
I hope and pray Sentimental Value takes it because that one, like, if you look back into my rankings, like that was in fourth place.
Mhm.
And Secret Agent was good, but Sentimental Value like narrowly missed top three. So if it doesn't get that and the other awards I will touch on later, I will riot.
Again, I wanted to just touch on, I mean, I haven't seen any of these, but just based on how popular No Other Choice has been and critically acclaimed, I'm surprised it never got nominated in this category. But yeah, I think Sentimental Value, just based off of what I've been hearing, is up there to be winning Best Picture, let alone Best International Film.
Mm-hmm.
We got Film Editing, F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. What do you got for this one?
I think one battle after another.
Okay, for me, I'm going to go Marty Supreme again.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I was really high on that movie. I think that the editing, everything, like the cinematography, everything that they did in that movie was really good, and I don't think that it had a giant budget or anything either. So next up, documentary short film, All the Empty Rooms, Armed Only with a Camera, The Life and Death of Brent Renaud, Children No More, Were and Are Gone, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly Strangeness. Once again, never seen any of these, so I have no opinion.
I'm gonna blindly say All the Empty Rooms.
All right, cool. Let's see. Documentary feature film, The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, The Perfect Neighbor. Again, nothing from me. I've never seen any of these.
I'm gonna blindly say The Perfect Neighbor.
Sounds good to me. All right, now we're getting into another big category. Best Director. We got Hamnet, we got or I'll say the directors rather than the movies. Chloe Zhao, Josh Safdie, Paul Thomas Anderson, Joachim Trier, the guy for Sentimental Value. I don't know if I'm
Joaquin.
saying that right. Joachim?
Yeah.
That's how he spells it? Huh, interesting. Joachim Trier and Ryan Coogler, of course. I am interested to hear who you have for this. I am very interested.
I think it's gonna go to Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, I also feel like it's going to go. I would have said Marty Supreme, but then Josh Safdie just got into literally this past week a bit of hot water with something he did in a movie a
What
few
happened
years
with
ago
him?
about he had like an underage girl in a movie. It was like a movie he did with Robert Pattinson, and there was an underage girl, and they did like a sex scene or something. It came out like literally like a few days ago, so I feel like they probably wouldn't give it to him. So I would personally say Ryan Coogler, but because they're not going to give it to Josh Safdie, sure, Paul Thomas Anderson. Why not? But I would go Ryan Coogler myself.
You know, I would too, but I mean, going back to how, like, knowing what the Academy likes. Like his last film was Licorice Pizza, which got a lot of Oscar buzz, got a lot of Oscar noms. And I mean, some of his other films, like There Will Be Blood, is probably my favorite film of his, starring Daniel Day
Hmm.
Lewis. That was an Oscar sweep almost. I do think, like, I would love to see if Ryan Coogler won, and if he wins, kudos to him, because I think if there is a year for him to win it, it's this year, because I think this is his best film.
Yeah, that's what how I rationalize it. And I think I've told you this off camera. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the previous episodes, but I just don't see Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Not that they're not talented, but there's just certain people that are at the Oscars most years, every year or every other year, they're going to get nominated. So I feel like I want to go for them just because not only did I enjoy the movie so much, but I feel like they're also underdogs and they're probably like not going to be in this position too many more times. So, but I agree with you. I could see the Oscars just giving it to him. Going right along, we got costume design, Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. I'm going Sinners.
I'm going Frankenstein.
Fair enough. Both kind of period pieces, both had to have a lot of intricate costumes. Makes perfect sense to me. I won't be mad if either of them win that one. Cinematography, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I sound like a broken record? Sinners.
I am also going Sinners on this one. An honorable mention, Train Dreams. If anybody has Netflix, it's one of those under the radar films. It was in my top 10, I think. Maybe it narrowly missed my top 10. I don't recall. I watched too many movies. But it's a period piece in a way with Joel Edgerton, and I mean, it's literally just the large 90% of the movie is shot like outside, like he's like a logger, and it's a old timey, but it's very peaceful, but
Mhm.
it's shot exceptionally. But I do think Sinners will take the cake on this one.
Yeah, hopefully. Next up, we've got casting, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. What do you got for this one?
I have Sinners yet again.
Interesting. I've got Marty Supreme.
Huh.
Yeah, I've got Marty Supreme for this one.
Can I
My
ask
reasoning
why?
is,
Okay.
yeah, I was just about to say, I think while I enjoyed everybody's role in Sinners, there were like some characters I feel like that weren't, so standout. Like not the standout characters or the main characters. I was like, not that it was miscast, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like everybody's playing this perfect part or whatever. Whereas I never felt like that in Marty Supreme. I felt like everybody that was casted was like perfectly put into their roles because the cast I feel like was like relatively like small, so they had to like be more careful. So that's just my take on it. I feel like because there were so many more characters that they had to have in the juke joint and everything like that. Whereas Marty Supreme, even though there were a lot of background characters, characters with lines and a point to the plot, it seemed as though to me it was a little bit more like. But I would be happy to have Sinners win it. Animated short film Butterfly, A Forever Green, The Girl Who Cried Pearls, Retirement Plan, and The Three Sisters. Never seen any of them, never heard of any of them, so no opinion.
I'm gonna blindly guess Butterfly because it's a
Okay,
butterfly.
why not? Animated feature film Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. Personally, I would do Zootopia 2, but I think they'll give it to K-pop Demon Hunters.
I agree. I'm the same way. I would give it to Zootopia, but yeah, it's probably gonna be K-pop just for what
Yeah.
they did and being different.
Yeah, and it like just because it was literally just a streaming movie and it wasn't like Disney or Warner, but like one of those big name like
Yeah,
Paramount, DreamWorks. So you have to give them the credit. It like turned into like a juggernaut. So like, fair play to them. All right, getting into the acting side of things, actress in a supporting role, which we already touched on earlier. We've got Elle Fanning, we've got Inga Ib's daughter Elias, Amy Madigan, Wonmi Masako, and Tiana Taylor. I think that based off of what people are saying, I think the actress from Sentimental Value will win.
really. Okay.
I just don't think Tiana Taylor did enough in One Battle After Another. She was
So,
good, but like I don't think she did like a ton.
so
I feel
here's the
like the
thing.
daughter did more.
So I agree with you. I do not think Tiana Taylor did enough, but I think she's gonna win it, and I don't agree with it. My personal pick was actually Amy Madigan for what's her name.
You're a big Gladys fan, eh?
Well, I think like her character did more than Tiana Taylor did. And Tiana Taylor was really only in a small portion of the movie. And I mean, now granted, yes, it is supporting. So like touching on Elle Fanning, like I think she's a great actress. She did a great job in Sentimental Value, but comparing her to Amy Madigan, who would be my personal pick, um, like there was, I think, of the supporting actresses nominated, I think Amy Madigan kind of led in what they had to do, and honestly, behind her, I'd probably put Wunmi Mosaku from Sinners, as far as like what their importance was in the film. Yeah, I have a hunch they're gonna give it to Tiana Taylor. I don't know why, but they will. And if I'm wrong,
My
I'm
pick,
wrong.
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, as I said, my pick is that they'll give it to Inga, whatever, from Sentimental Value. But I
Inga
also,
or L, because both of them are nominated for Sentimental Value.
oh yeah, you're right. So then probably Elle Fanning then, just because of the name. I don't know, she's more popular perhaps. I don't know, I never saw it,
That's your
so I
homework.
don't know.
Go watch it.
I don't think I will. As Captain America would say. No, I don't think I will. The Amy Madigan thing, I do now agree with what you're saying that like she literally drove the whole movie because she was like the villain. Spoilers. Wonmi Masaku, I'd love it for Sinners to get another award. Like that's my pick of who I'd give it to out of these five, just because I've only ever seen the three of the five. And as I said, Tiana Taylor didn't do enough for me to even be in the conversation. So it would be between Weapons and Sinners for this. And obviously, I'll just go Sinners. But I would not be mad if Amy Madigan won, just because, as I said, that's like a win for the horror genre that like she's winning that. So
And that's like
yeah,
as I
hopefully.
mentioned, like that's Weapons' only nomination. Robbery.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Would you have given what's his name? Would you have given him best director nomination? Forget his name. Craig or
Zach
what's his
Kreger?
name? Zach Kreger, yeah.
Let me look back at who was nominated for Best Director. Yeah, I would have thrown him in there. I would have thrown him in over Chloe Zhao, who like is a great director. I just wasn't a big fan of Hamnet. Like I've enjoyed a lot more of her other films over Hamnet. But yeah, I would have put Zach Kreger in.
Okay. Actress in a leading role. We've got Jessie Buckley, we've got Rose Byrne, Kate Hudson, Renate Riencev, and Emma Stone.
So I'm gonna kick myself for just saying I wasn't a big fan of Hamnet. I think Jessie Buckley is gonna win it. That would not be
Interesting.
my personal pick. I would pick. I'm gonna butcher her name as you just did, but Renata Renziv. She's I think Norwegian. I don't know. She was outstanding in sentimental value. That's who I would give it to. If not her, then I would say probably Emma Stone and then maybe Rose Byrne in that order. But once again, like knowing the Oscars and Shakespeare, Jessie Buckley did give a great performance, but I think that's the route they're going to go. It just wouldn't be my personal pick.
Yeah, I've only ever seen Emma Stone in this list, so I'm gonna go with Emma Stone, and she's already won an Oscar. They like to just keep it safe sometimes, so we'll see. I mean, Rose Byrne, I've watched her in so many things, and I believe this is her first nomination. That'd be great if she wins.
Yeah, she. If you
I
haven't
never watched it.
seen If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. It's a good movie. It's not a
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a very feel good movie, but it's a good movie.
it's good. Yeah, I'd be, as I said, because I don't really have like a horse in this race where I'm like, like I really want this person to win. If she won that, I'd be like, that's great. So yeah, we'll see. Now we got actor in a supporting role: Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi, Delroy Lindo, Sean Penn, and Stellan Skarsgård. I think it's gonna go to Stellan Skarsgård. Like I think he already won the Golden Globe and I think another award as well for his role in Sentimental Value.
Yeah, much deserved. I agree. That would be my
I
pick anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I personally, as I said, I don't think Benicio del Toro again like did enough to be in this position. I would have much preferred Jesse Plemons to be here, and I would have picked him. However, I actually forgot to mention when we were talking about snubs and everything. I'm surprised that they went with Delroy Lindo in Sinners instead of the actor who played Sammy. I was sure that he would be getting in this position if they were going to choose somebody, just because
Yeah,
of how much more important he was to the plot with his singing and everything. So Delroy Lindo did a great job as Delta Slim, but yeah, it was nothing like crazy. So I don't think he'll be winning this one. But he's been in Hollywood for a while, so maybe they're just doing the whole Jamie Lee Curtis thing. I don't know, just giving him a nomination, perhaps.
yeah, could be.
Last category, actor in a leading role: Timothy Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, Michael B. Jordan, and Wagner Moura. I think we're both going to be giving the same for who we think is going to win. But who do you got?
Lil Timmy Tim.
Yep, Chalamet. I think we'll be taking it home. I personally, of course, as I've said many times, I'd give it to Michael B. Jordan because I don't see many movies that he'll be in. He's not like the type of actor that usually takes the role like looking for the Oscar, whereas I feel like that's what Timothy's kind of doing now. He's kind of going down the Leonardo DiCaprio, following in his footsteps of like, being very selective with his projects and stuff like that. Michael B. Jordan, now not that that's like a bad thing, but Michael B. Jordan doesn't seem like that's kind of how he does it. He kind of seems like he just takes roles as he likes them or what, opportunities that come. So I would love for him to win this, but I really think that to me, it was a tie between him and Timothy Chalamet, and I just see them giving it to Chalamet more than him. So yeah, and that's
Yeah,
the last
it's
category.
so the funny thing for me, I do think it's easily going to be Chalamet. But my number two was actually Wagner Moura from The Secret Agent. That's not how I would do it. Like, if it was me, like Michael B. Jordan would be my number two. And the rest of the order that I have would probably stay the same, just flip those two. But knowing the Academy, like, I think Wagner Moura, like, he hasn't been in a ton. Like, he's still kind of growing his game. But to be nominated for what he did in The Secret Agent, like, that movie was really good. It would not shock me if he like I do think he's like the most realistic like runner up, I think.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And that's our Oscar predictions. We'll see. And when the Oscars happens, the next episode after that we record, we can like go back and look and see what we predicted and see what we got wrong and what we got right. But yeah, transitioning over into your review, tell us all about 28 years later and the Bone Temple.
Sounds good. Did you ever see the first one?
Like 28 years later?
Yeah.
Or oh no, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the original too, like 28
You've
days and
you've seen
weeks, but I
days and
haven't seen,
weeks. You just haven't
but
seen
not
years.
years
Okay.
yet. No.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't care if your stuff in like has spoilers or whatever. I really don't care. By the time I end up watching 28 years later, I probably won't remember
I don't even
anything.
think I have spoilers, but I
Perfect.
kept
So
it very kind of simple, just sticking to what worked, what hasn't worked.
makes sense.
I will say, like for those listening or watching who have seen 28 years later or even any of the prior films, this one in my opinion did beat out 28 years later one. But yeah, I mean starting with what worked for me, Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell, their performances, like I think they are an absolutely elite duo. The chemistry, the tension, and the emotional weight that they brought just elevate the entire movie. Both of their performances felt very grounded, intense, and like lived in. And it's the kind that kind of lingered with me long after leaving the theater. It would not shock me if this ends up being one of the best on-screen pairings of the entire year. Shifting gears into the storytelling, like they were very smart and thoughtful with the way they approached it. And they shot 28 years later and the Bone Temple back to back,
Mhm.
with there being like a 6-month gap between releases. But this one isn't just another zombie sequel. I mean, it's a story that actually has something to say. The film finds a way to twist expectations of the horror suspense drama genre. It leans into some pretty complex moral themes, but also human behavior and genuine consequence rather than just cheap shocks that horror likes to lean into. It felt very deliberate and confident with what it was going for. And it wasn't reactive or derivative. On the topic of direction, I thought there was a strong synergy between the directing and the script. And it pairs perfectly. It's restrained where it needs to be, but it's intense when it matters. And the story finds a way to move the franchise forward instead of recycling familiar beats that the audience may come across in not only this franchise, but also horror in general. But it does understand the legacy it's building on in this franchise, and it chooses to evolve as it goes along over imitating the past. And it continues to find ways to reinvent the genre as it goes along. I mean, the movie pushed the zombie genre into a fresher territory. It was less about spectacle and less about the zombies, the infected that you were seeing. And you get a twinge of psychology and survival coming into it. And there's some really, really cool scenes that for a zombie horror movie, like do actually kind of like sit you down and let you take a breather and absorb what's going on. It subverts expectations in ways that felt earned rather than gimmicky. But this film to me felt like a film made by people who actually care about advancing this genre. And my last positive is along with advancing that genre, there's a really strong character driven impact. And the emotional weight of the film comes from the characters, not the chaos surrounding them in the ever so infected environment. There's a lot of relationships, there's a lot of motivations, there's a lot of personal stakes that drive the tension, the energy of the film more than the infected. The real threat, really, more than they ever do. So those are all my positives. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I don't have a lot of negatives, just two little nitpicky things. I will say this one is less visually striking than its predecessor. And even compared to earlier entries, this one doesn't hit quite as hard on a purely visual level. The cinematography is solid, but it does lack some of the raw, iconic imagery that fans may expect. It like the violence, they scale up quite a bit. Like I remember you're not even 5 minutes into the film, and I was already kind of like uneasy about what was being shown. But from a, you know, camera to lens shot perspective, it could have been done a little better, but nothing crazy. And then my second point is there was a like kind of talking about the spectacle a little bit and how the route that they chose to go worked for me. I do feel like it was more subdued, and viewers of this franchise, this film, or even just casual zombie flick, viewers looking for more of that relentless high octane zombie action. This entry is quieter and more restrained, and those who don't know that going in might be underwhelmed. But the focus with this one is clearly on story and character over shock and scale, which definitely won't be for everybody. But yeah, I mean, not many negatives. Final takeaways. I mean, this film was a very smart, character-driven evolution of the zombie genre, and it may not be the flashiest entry in the franchise, but it more than made up for it with its phenomenal performances, thoughtful storytelling, and it had this clear commitment to pushing the genre forward. So,
Okay, sounds good. What was your rating for it?
rating, I gave it an 8.9 out of 10.
Oh, wow, that's really high. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the movie so far. It doesn't sound like it's doing like blockbuster numbers or anything.
Mm-mm.
But the people that have seen it, I mean, you yourself included, have said mostly positive things about it. So I think I will end up watching it. It'll probably just be a streaming watch for me. As I've said in previous episodes, things are very busy for me. So I kind of have to be very selective with the movies I watch with the times that I have them.
Fair enough. Looking at my ratings on the franchise, 28 Years Later is actually very close to this one. I gave 28 Years Later an 8.7 out of 10. 28 Days, I actually gave a flat 9 out of 10. So this one is very, very close. 28 Weeks is kind of the one that kind of
That's
gets
the weaker one.
forgotten by the wayside. Yeah, it is definitely
Yeah.
weaker. It's still a good movie, but it's nowhere
Yeah.
close to the
The first one.
the first one,
is just
or even
a
the
classic.
sequels. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so any other Oscar related things or anything else to do with 28 years later that you want to touch on before we sign off then?
No, I'm all good. I mean, just closing us out here. Like, I hope we delivered some of the hot takes that you haven't heard before, and our ballots are basically locked in. I am curious, when are the Oscars? Like early March, late February, something like that.
I actually don't know the date. I'm going to look it up after. I can just look it up now. Usually they're end of January, I think.
March 15th. We got a ways.
Huh. That's like my birthday weekend.
Huh.
Hopefully Sinners wins. What a great birthday treat that would be.
Yeah, I do wonder if because I'm probably gonna rewatch some of these, and I do wonder if any of my thoughts and ideas are gonna change.
This has to be the latest Oscars ever. I've never heard them being in March before. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure they're usually end of January, early February, just because it's like, oh, we just want to get it out the way, like we're doing last year's stuff. Like March, and not even
yeah,
early, like mid March.
mid March.
The
So
Ides of March.
last year it was March 2nd.
Really? I could have
The
sworn
past
it
couple
was like in
years,
February.
it's all
It's
been
been
in
in
March.
March?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know. For whatever reason in my head, I always have just been like, oh, it's in January.
So the 93rd awards, which were it was from 2020 to late 21. That took place in April 2021. So yeah, like I see a lot of like 2020, 2019. That was February, but yeah, it seems like for a large part it's late February, early March. But yeah, we're just sitting in mid
The
March.
Academy's got to do better. They need to do that shit in January.
I agree. Do it New Year's Day.
Do it. Fuck it. Why not? I mean, it's talking about stuff from last year. You got to get, I mean, like, I understand them not doing it immediately because, Marty Supreme came out later on in the year, like in
Yeah.
December, and movies come out still. So, yeah, maybe even give them the month of January, but then knock it out in February. I don't know why they're waiting until March.
Yeah,
Sounds
no,
a
I
little bit
agree.
too much to me.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where I will probably like actually do a thorough look and rewatch and prep for what I do think is going to get what. But yeah, I mean, closing us out, like I hopefully y'all enjoyed hearing us debate Oscar noms, and yeah, if you haven't seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, go check it out. Feel free to drop your best picture pick or your most painful snub in the comments, and anything that we didn't cover that you want to shout. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else?
No, I just know that here come the K-pop Demon Hunter Brigade now, because we barely touched on that, and you know how they are, so you got to watch out for them. So
Yeah, I
get ready
mean,
for that in the comments.
gosh. In other news, we'll be back, but until then, go watch something that scares you a little. Go get out your comfort zone, and go check out some of these Oscar nominated films if you haven't.
Yeah, I think we haven't really discussed it, but I think next episode we'll probably both be covering Send Help, the Sam Raimi movie that I did the Tenable on earlier on in the episode. We both will have seen it by next week. So yeah, we'll probably be covering that in the next episode, have a few more activities for you. Please send us your hot takes as well. We're going to try and incorporate that into every episode in the beginning as well. a few here and there. And yeah, if there's nothing else, we'll catch you guys in the next one. And thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody.